What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Talkin Football podcast, episode 44. Today, we got a lot of stuff to talk about, a lot of news from the past week or so from camp and then outside of camp, and we have football this week as well, which is very fun. We'll definitely talk about that. Let's hit the intro and get right into episode 44. So this week, when I'm recording this week I went to Giants training camp, which is very, very fun. I was able to be on the field, and I wasn't able to get a lot of highlights, but I was definitely able to see a lot of great plays, great players. Jackson Dart looked really good. I'm very excited to see what he can do. So did Cam Scatterbo, and we will definitely be talking about him later in this video. I was very happy to be there. It was great. It was a really, really good time. Jameis looked pretty good too. He threw a one-handed interception, actually, made by Art Green, who was a practice squad corner who was added in the middle of the season last year. But that was very fun. Wasn't able to get any highlights, or I was thinking about maybe doing some kind of like post-training camp video, like guys like the Giants Nation show with Bobby Skinner and Talking Giants with Justin Panic. I was thinking about doing something like that, but I was like, you know what? We're talking football, not just talking Giants, like Justin Panic is. So you know what? We'll let them do the talking there. So let's start off with what we ended the intro with, the Hall of Fame game. We have football this week. What is there to look for in the Hall of Fame game? So I did a video actually last year, if you guys may or may not remember that. I did a video specifically for the Hall of Fame game. I said 3 things or however many things you guys should watch out for in the Hall of Fame game. And this year it's a little bit different because there's really not that much to look out for. Yeah, I said, dynamic kickoff, got to look out for, but there's really no new news out there or new rules that based on what I remember. So there's not a lot of stuff there to think about. So I looked it up. What is there to look for the Hall of Fame game? Before we get into that, actually, though, the Hall of Fame game, I'm uploading this on Wednesday. It is going to be on Thursday, and it is going to be on NBC at 8. So if you guys are 8 p.m. Eastern time. So if you want to look at that or watch that, definitely check it out. I will probably watch some of it, not all of it, but I'll definitely check it out. Definitely checking out the first half for a couple of main reasons. And here is the main point I want to talk about. It's the Chargers against the Lions. And one thing I will say, for what it's worth, they do a great presentation. They really do. They know exactly what they need to do here at the NFL. And I was a little surprised to see who is going to play for the Chargers. First off, starting quarterback Trey Lance. Trey Lance is going to be starting for the Chargers in this Hall of Fame game, which is very cool, very awesome to see. Very happy for Trey Lance. I remember him coming out of NDSU. I was like, this kid is a stud. And then he just never really panned out, which really stunk, especially in a very quarterback-friendly system. And he wasn't really given a chance. He got hurt. The dominoes just kind of fell that way, and he was never really given an opportunity after that. Did nothing with the Cowboys. Now he's with the Chargers. Hopefully he can kind of get something going here. Taylor Heineke is also going to be an emergency dresser if they need him to be. And also another quarterback to watch out for. I'm not sure how to exactly say his last name. DJ Uiagalelei, I want to say is how you say his name, and that's going to be just a terrible mispronunciation. The Florida State quarterback, former Clemson quarterback as well. He is going to be playing a majority of the game, so I believe it's going to be Lance for the first quarter, first half, and then Uiagalelei. Let's say DJU, if you guys know who I'm talking about. Let's say DJU is going to be for the second half, with Heineke coming in if one of those two maybe go down earlier than expected. So definitely, I'm going to be looking out for that. Lance, I'm definitely going to keep my eye on. DJU, I don't really know a lot about him other than I know he kind of stinks. I know when Florida State was ranked as high as they were with DJU, I was a little surprised. I was definitely a little bit surprised. I didn't think that he was that good, especially when he was a big stinker at Clemson. Then he comes out 1-11 with the Florida State team that was undefeated the year before. So definitely not a great year for him, but he's getting a chance in the NFL for reasons I'm not sure why. I mean, he's not an impressive quarterback by any means, with all due respect. He is definitely a better quarterback than me, but I'm not saying not by much, with all due respect. But hopefully he proves me wrong. Outside of the quarterbacks, Trey Harris is going to be playing in this game, which I'm very surprised. I was a little surprised to see that was the case. I didn't think that they would be playing guys like him. They were also playing first-round running back Omarion Hampton. I was, again, very surprised to see that they're going to be playing Hampton tomorrow. I'm sure Hampton's probably going to be only for a drive or two at most the first quarter. Same thing with Harris. But interesting to see because you're going to be able to look at something. I mean, I know last year, I believe it was the Texans and the Bears, and Case Keenum was throwing to like Xavier Hutchinson. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like both of them a lot. I think Hutch is a great receiver. But watching that, and it was like, it's like, yeah, how long can I actually watch this for? This year, though, there's something definitely for me to watch there with Trey Harris and Omarion Hampton. Nothing from the Lions based on what I know about who is starting or any rookies playing yet. I don't know if mum's the word on that from what I know. But from the Lions, for Lions fans watching this, I definitely want to include you guys. One thing I'm looking for out of Detroit, if they're going to show their cards with a new playbook, or if there is a new playbook, they have two new coordinators. Now that Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn left to be head coaches with the Bears and the Jets, respectively, now they're going to have a new-ish system. How is that going to be shown in a Hall of Fame game? And that's kind of what I'm curious about. Is it going to be a completely new style of play? Maybe is Jared Goff going to be calling plays? Are we going to have that kind of stuff? Or that's what I'm really looking forward to. Are they going to be aggressive? Are they just going to play back? Maybe play like normal cover 4, cover 2 kind of defense without really showing their cards? Or are they going to show a couple of their cards? Maybe they have a ace in their deck and then let's show this now. So they're like, you know what? So now we can show the NFL this is what we have. But then again, you're like, okay, well maybe now the NFL knows what you have and you have to adjust with that. I'm curious to see how they do that. I'm sure it won't be too drastic compared to Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn's scheme, but I'm definitely going to keep my eye on that. I'm very intrigued to see how they kind of manage under new coordinators, rather, because Dan Campbell, he doesn't really call plays. He doesn't call plays at all. He definitely says, let's go for on fourth down, but that's not something he doesn't really call plays. So that's what I'm looking forward to in the Hall of Fame game there. I think that it's going to be a lot of fun. Again, like I said, great presentation. I really like how they do that. That's what we got for the NFL Hall of Fame game as part of a segment on this show. Next up, Madden 26, the 99 Club has been released. And let me tell you, some people in there I did not expect to be in there. There's a lot more 99s than there really have been in the last couple of years. And I'll list them out here for you. Have them in my notes. Saquon Barkley, running back for the Eagles. Lane Johnson, right tackle for the Eagles. Myles Garrett, defensive end for the Browns. Lamar Jackson, quarterback for the Ravens. Josh Allen, quarterback for the Bills. Justin Jefferson, receiver for the Vikings, and Jamar Chase, receiver for the Bengals. I know most of you guys know who they play for and what positions they are, but just to kind of say that out loud, you have two Eagles. That's a very big thing. We haven't seen two 99s on a team in a very long time, or that's actually not really true because we have Mahomes and Kelsey. Come to think of it, I want to say maybe late 2010s, mid 2010s when Gronk and Brady were probably both 99s at some point. But I'm very interested to see that you have two 99s and one at an offensive lineman position. I don't think that's happened in recent years. That's not usually what it is. It's usually the other premier positions. You'll have, we'll have a couple of receivers at 99. I think was Devontae Adams at 99 a couple of years ago. Not totally sure. I know Cooper Kupp was 99 a couple of years ago. I'm pretty sure after his Triple Crown year, if I remember right. They usually have a quarterback or two that's a 99. This year they have Lamar and Josh Allen. Mahomes went from a 99 to a 95, which I thought was very interesting because that's not something that you see very often. He's usually a 99 every year, regardless of how good or bad the Chiefs are. He drops down to a 95. Now, keep in mind, this is the 99 Club right now. These ratings can absolutely change. We could have more members of the 99 Club. We can have less members of the 99 Club. But I think it's a little cool little fact that you have 7 99 Club members entering Madden 26. Now, I will say I'm not a big Madden ratings guy because I feel like they do the rookies really dirty, and then they have I feel like the rankings aren't that great. But I will say, not bad picks for the 99 Club. I mean, who do you guys think should be in the 99 Club? Definitely leave a comment down below. I think you can absolutely make an argument for Dexter Lawrence, with all due respect, because I know this might show a little bit of bias, but I think there's an argument there. I know he was hurt, so maybe not. I think you could argue Mahomes probably could have been a 99 again, with all due respect. I'm just trying to think off the top of my head. I know Tyreek wasn't as good to be a 99. Amon-Ra St. Brown, maybe. It's a very hard argument to make. TJ Watt, 100%. Not really sure how he missed the 99 mark, but he did for reasons I'm not really sure. Other players off the top of my head that I'm just trying to think of, none of them are really coming to me, but there are definitely other players that could have been in this range. None, like I said, I can think of off the top of my head. But look, I'm happy that an offensive lineman got a 99. Look, he's a great player, Lane Johnson. He's fantastic. I will say though, I will say he does do false starts a lot. I think he gets a very early jump, and for what it's worth, this is not this saying it. I'm just saying it's not him timing the snap right. I've seen, even when they're not playing the Giants, he has early starts. Not that it matters, though, because even if he had a late start, he's still going to block you. Like, he's the best offensive lineman in football, which I think he is. I mean, I don't think there's many better. But I will say, just for what it's worth, got to get that little nudge in there. He does start a little bit early, for what it's worth. New extensions coming out. We have new extensions. A couple of new ones. I was a little surprised to see some of these, and we're going to start with the big ticket one. We have a market reset. Big news here. Market reset. Rashawn Slater gets paid. He gets 4 for 144 with 92 guaranteed. I'm hoping I wrote that right. I think it's 4 for 144, if I remember right. Not 4 for 124. I'm pretty sure I wrote this down right. I'm going to check right now. But this is very deserving. He was very well deserved here, in my opinion. 4 for 114. Excuse me, I wrote that down wrong. But 4 for 114. Good thing I checked that. 4 for 114. Big time payday for Rashawn Slater. I'm happy for him. He's been a great player for the Chargers. Him and Joe Alt, great tackle duo for years to come. And they're locking in a key part of their offense early. And I love that for him. He gets 92 guaranteed. Like I said, it's a market reset again. He's getting north of 25 a year. Actually, in fact, north of 28 a year, I think. North of 28. I think it's 28.5 if I can do the quick math in my head. That's crazy. That's absolutely nuts for a offensive lineman. But again, it's deserved. And I feel like I say this a lot, and a lot of when I'm talking about extensions, this is going to be a steal in a couple of years. I feel like it probably will be, because again, you have other offensive linemen that are coming up that need to get paid. I think this is a good contract because the salary cap's only going to be going up. You have so many overseas games, which I personally am not a fan of, but I think the players won't mind it because of how much they're going to get paid for it. You have all the betting money coming in. You have the betting money coming in, and that's only going to raise the salary cap. And if owners making money, Goodell's making that money, they're doing everything right in terms of the salary cap. So that's only going to go up. And I had a video, I believe I mentioned this in other videos before. I had a video about the QB salary cap. Should there be one? And I said no, but definitely something to keep an eye on. I feel like we're getting close to it. We're getting close to positional salary caps. And I'm not saying that that's the way that the NFL should be, but I think it's not a bad idea to consider. When you're in a world where you're paying these guys this much money, it kind of becomes a little unrealistic. And especially because what's going to eventually happen, you're going to have players that are coming in just to play these positions. You're going to have only receivers, only quarterbacks, or only not running backs, definitely not running backs, only tackles, only corners. You're going to lose out on the safeties that you desperately need to win Super Bowls and to make deep playoff runs. For what it's worth, those are your anchors, your safeties and your linebackers. Those are your anchors, but they're not getting paid that much. Interior offensive linemen, they're not really anchors, but those are fundamental running play offensive linemen. Those are the keys. When there's outside runs, you got to have those centers and the left guards. They need to pull, or if it's going to the left, you need to have right guards pull out. But there's not going to be that many of them if you're not paying them. And there's only a few that are getting paid. Like Landon Dickerson comes to mind. Like, I think at some point, maybe think about having some positional salary caps. I don't think we're there yet, but we're certainly getting close. Other big extensions, Bernard Rainman from the Indianapolis Colts, offensive tackle, 4 from 100 there, $25 million a year. The Colts they're great at producing offensive line talent, so good for Rainman there. Cortland Sutton, Mr. Reliable, 4 for 92. He gets the bag. It's 23 a year. Yes, 23 a year if I did that math correctly, because 24 would be 96. So yeah, that's 23 a year for Cortland Sutton. And it's funny, I've had, you guys know, my fantasy GOAT on this channel, Logan. I've had him on before. I've had him on for fantasy players you should target. He loves Cortland Sutton, and I don't blame him for it, because when you have a guy like Sutton who's able to be as productive as he is and as consistent as he is, regardless of his quarterback, that says a lot. Especially with competition. You have guys. Off the top of my head, you have guys like Mims. I'm a big Marvin Mims guy. I think he's a great speedster, good player. Vele, another good receiver. You have competition there in Denver, and he's still coming down with catches. That says a lot. I think he's a great player. You know what? I might have to target him in fantasy this year. Jake Ferguson, 4 for 52 from the Cowboys, so they do at least sign one of their guys, which is nice to see. And Shamar Stewart, this is not an extension, but it's the end of a holdout. He got the 4-year rookie deal. They finally agreed on a contract. And for what it's worth, the value didn't really blow me away. I feel like I don't really understand what the holdout was for, because I feel like he didn't really get that much. I don't know what exactly he was looking for, but I was kind of surprised to see that that's all he got. I thought that he would definitely get a lot more there from the Bengals. But he didn't, but it's done. Speaking of the Bengals, we have an update on some holdouts. So today I'm recording this on Tuesday. I'm uploading this on Wednesday. Trey Hendrickson is returning to practice tomorrow or today when I'm uploading this. That's massive for the Bengals. They're finally getting their big guy back, which is great to see. It's about dang time that Trey Hendrickson, this NFL's leader in sacks last season, is back at camp. No contract resolution yet. This is on his own. He's joining. I don't blame him. I mean, I'm sure he's going to get fined if he doesn't. So he's going to have to come back at some point. This is a good way to start some negotiations rather than holding out. You're coming in and you're saying, look, I'm here. Now you should pay me. I think that's definitely a good kind of role to take there. If I'm Trey Hendrickson, they're able to re-sign Shamar Stewart, or at least sign him. I would assume that Trey would get some kind of bag in the coming weeks before the season. Now that he's back, I don't believe he's going to hold out during the regular season. I think he's just back for the season, and this is his last season on the contract. Terry McLaurin is not at camp, but in his new contract, he's looking for less than what DK is getting. DK Metcalf is getting $33 million a year in his new contract with the Steelers. I don't know why the Commanders are waiting any longer to get Terry McLaurin back. It makes absolutely no sense to me. It really doesn't. I don't get it. He's asking for less than 33, based on the reports that I've seen. That's a steal. That's a steal. Jefferson is getting 35. Okay? Jefferson's getting 35. You need to re-sign Terry McLaurin. Do what you can to re-sign him. He's not asking for a crazy amount. He's asking for a relatively realistic amount. In my opinion, not a crazy ask. He has carried this offense on his shoulders for the last 7 years now. He was drafted in 2018, 2019, so 6 years, sorry. Give him something. Come on. Give him the bag. He deserves it. He has cooked the division for a very long time. He has cooked outside the division for a very long time. Give him the bag. Lock in your franchise wideout one. I don't know why they're playing hardball, because if he's looking for less than DK Metcalf, which is $33 million a year, pay him, or else Jaden's gonna have no one to throw to. Pay Terry McLaurin. I also, if you guys saw, Jaden Daniels, I posted this as a short on my page a couple of days ago. Jaden Daniels, when ESPN right now, what they're doing 50 states in 50 days. They stopped by at Washington Commanders camp. They were talking to Jaden Daniels, and Jaden Daniels himself started a Terry McLaurin chant, or at least joined in on it. Terry, Terry, Terry. Your starting quarterback is saying something, you got to pay up. It's not that hard. These are like non-holdouts here, but still something to monitor. Micah Parsons, no deal yet, and what has come out of Dallas recently is very concerning. He wants a deal Jerry Jones is saying, "Oh, when last year when we didn't sign CeeDee Lamb, you guys were booing louder." Ooh, that's a bad look for your franchise. That's a very, very bad look. Great for me, great for my team. Bad for the Cowboys. I don't know why Jerry Jones would even think of riling up these fans. They are bandwagons to begin with, a majority of them. Why would you want them to jump ship? Just saying. I don't know why they're waiting on Micah Parsons. Same thing with Terry. I really don't get it. I mean, at least at the worst, he's a top 3 edge rusher in the league and arguably a top 5 defensive player in the league. There's very few players that are better than him. But Jerry Jones is going to play hardball, which I don't get because Micah Parsons is not going to say, "All right, fine, I want to stay in Dallas. I'll resign here." This Dallas team looks like they're going to win 7 games this year. I'll be honest. I don't see a world where I'm at most 9. I don't see a double-digit win for them at all. I don't see them making the playoffs at this point right now. Just saying, predictions are going to be coming out sometime soon, and I haven't looked at their teams yet. But I will say I don't see them making the playoffs or being anywhere close to it. I don't know. You're acting as if he wants to resign. He will gladly jump ship, go to maybe Pittsburgh or go to Philly or even Washington for that matter, because that's closer to where he went to college. He will gladly do that. He's a Penn State alum. He'll gladly do that. He's not looking to say, "Oh, well, I want to stay in Dallas. We'll take a pay cut." No, he's not. He's saying, "I want my bag," and rightfully so. He's going to want to match. I'm assuming he's going to match what TJ did or close to it. But no deal for Micah Parsons. On the opposite hand, or somewhat opposite hand, Deron Bland, they are talking with Deron Bland, the Cowboys are, and we're going to deal with him. At least they have some kind of common sense. You got to lock him up, okay? Both of them. I think Bland is going to be a little bit closer. Then obviously they're talking right now, but Parsons, there's nothing right now. It's a bunch of nothing right there with Micah Parsons. It's a shame. It really is. I don't understand why they're waiting on Deron Bland. It makes absolutely zero sense to me. Let's go to injury updates from camp. I only have a couple here, but a lot of them are major. Let's start with the major ones. Treylon Burks is out for the season. He also got waived by the Titans. Excuse me. He got waived by the Titans with an injury designation. He tore his Achilles, I want to say, or tore his ACL, something. He tore one of those two. I couldn't find what it was, but he got released. Just a really bad decision by the Titans. They traded away A.J. Brown for Treylon Burks, and he did nothing. Really big swing and miss there. Now he's off the team. So Treylon Burks out for the season, looking for a job. Martin Emerson is looking at an Achilles injury. When I'm recording this, I'm not sure what it is exactly, but it looks like it's going to be season ending, and I'm not sure about the tear, if it's torn yet, but I think the Browns are bracing for bad news. I think they're going to say this is probably going to end the season, which stinks because Martin Emerson was really solid last year, and him and Denzel Ward are a very good duo, but if he's out for the year, then Cleveland definitely has some work to do in the back end. Isaiah Likely rolled his ankle. He's going to miss a couple of weeks there. He rolled it in practice. I would expect him to play at least a couple drives in the preseason. So I'm not expecting him to miss any preseason action or like a majority of it. I'd expect him to at least play maybe week 3 at the very latest. Tyler Guyton, in a big turn of events out of Dallas, the original concern was a torn ACL. And everyone was saying it. Schefter was saying it. Bleacher Report was saying it. They all said, or Jordan Schultz said it, this is going to be a torn ACL. Then a couple hours later, they say, good news out of Dallas. Guyton does not have a torn ACL. There's no tear in the bone. All it is, it's a bone fracture. So now he's going to be out for 4 to 6 weeks. Is that a sting? Yes, 100%. But it's the end of July, early August. So not to be funny, he could probably make it back before the start of the season. Because if the season starts in 5 or 6 weeks, he'll be back by then or almost fully healthy. At the very latest, I'd expect him to be back by week 2 or 3. So he should probably be back to play the Giants. That's something to look at. Absolutely. I mean, this is a big deal. They're going to get their starting tackle back, originally torn ACL. Now it's not. That's big. Wide receiver news, more these are less less bad, I guess. These aren't as bad as the other ones. These are not season-ending. Justin Jefferson, if you guys missed it, he has a hamstring strain. He's going to miss a couple weeks. Kevin O'Connell, when asked about it, said, no worries. He'll be good to start for the start of the regular season. That's kind of an obvious one. Hammy strains aren't really too bad. If you guys remember, Steph Curry in the playoffs had a hamstring. Was it a hamstring or was it an ankle? He had one of those sprains or strains. Based on what I know, if you have had them already, which I believe Jefferson did a couple years ago, he had a hamstring strain a couple years ago. The first time, it's very hard to come back from. It takes a little bit longer. The rehab process takes a little bit longer. The second time, not as long. You're a little bit more used to it, and now you can be back a little bit sooner. I'm not sure if they're going to test him in the preseason. I would assume maybe week 3, kind of the same thing with Isaiah Likely, like I mentioned before. I would assume a similar solution there. Malik Neighbors, the toe injury or next up, Malik Neighbors, I should have transitioned there. Malik Neighbors has lingering toe injury. He said, I did not get surgery, and I think it's going to be something that I'm kind of going to deal with. He said, it's kind of a mosquito that just never goes away. That's a great thing to hear as a Giants fan. That's a great thing to hear. He also hurt his shoulder today in practice. When I'm recording this on Tuesday, he hurt his shoulder. He went back with the trainers, and it looks like he'll be okay, but definitely something to monitor as we get closer. My advice, I'm going to give a little bit of fantasy advice as we kind of go through. I'm not targeting Neighbors. I'm a Giants fan, and I'm not targeting him. I don't believe in him. That's not true. I believe in him. That injury or those injuries concern me. Last bit of news for the week, Christian Wilkins was released by the Las Vegas Raiders in what was very surprising to me until you heard about the backstory a little bit. So, Christian Wilkins, if you guys remember, last offseason, massive contract, went from the Dolphins to the Raiders. I was very surprised when he went to the Raiders. I thought that he was going to re-sign with the Dolphins, but he went to the Raiders. 5-year deal, massive contract, lots of guaranteed money in it. And after 5 games, foot injury, done for the year. In the offseason, now we're here, 1 year, pretty much a year after they gave him the contract, they release him. So there's a couple things that you can think of why they would possibly do this, right, pretty much at the beginning of training camp. The first one was the foot injury, and it was that it was not healing as well as the Raiders had hoped it would. But Wilkins, I believe, is filing a grievance with the NFLPA saying they didn't care for me the way they should, or the way they should have with the foot injury, so it didn't really recover as well as it should have. Okay, that's one thing. Secondly, there was some kind of incident in the locker room. Now, the reports have been pretty vague, but I believe the incident was that Christian Wilkins kissed his teammate's forehead, which I don't really get. That's what I read. I'm assuming that's what it is. And that's what a lot of reporters are kind of confirming. So that was that, and that the teammate didn't like it. Okay. And thirdly, the contract is huge. It's a very big contract. I mean, if you're coming back from a foot injury and still lingering and you're getting paid as much as you are, I think that's not a bad idea. They also, by releasing him when they did, they were able to free up a lot of they were able to get a lot out of the guaranteed money, or a majority of it. So that was another big reason as to why they did that. I don't believe a team is going to sign him anytime soon. If they do, probably middle of the season, maybe later part of the season, playoff push kind of signing. Until then, I would assume Wilkins is going to be a free agent for the time being. Maybe an early preseason signing, but that lingering foot injury concerns me. It really does. Foot injuries are very tough. They're very, very tough, especially so many guys are getting turf toe, and the turf, a lot of people are complaining about it. Doesn't really work. I don't know where I know he went to Clemson, then he went to Miami, or that's not true. Yeah, that's true. He went from Clemson to Miami, then to the Raiders. So geography, I don't think is like a big concern for him. I'm definitely interested to see where he goes. The Giants have been mentioned because he has the connection with Dexter Lawrence. I don't really think that's enough to make him come to New York, but we could see how that works out. Last part of the show today, camp standouts. Now, some of you guys might already know who my standouts are, and that's because I posted this on my Instagram. And definitely look at my Instagram. I'm posting there more often. I am going to be following a posting schedule pretty much similar to what I'm going to plan on doing during the regular season, where I post Sunday, then Tuesday, Wednesday, then Friday or Saturday, probably, if I had to guess. That's not finalized yet, but definitely make sure you're following the podcast. It's the same as it is on here, as it is on Instagram, at Talkin Football Pod. Make sure you guys are following that and staying up to date with my posts there, because if I'm not posting here or on my shorts page, I'm posting on Instagram. So definitely look at that. Camp standouts. We have 2 veterans and 3 rookies. Let's start with the veterans. Kyle Pitts is who I'm going to start with. Kyle Pitts has been a massive target for Michael Penix early on. He has been electric down the seam. He has been working with the receiving group rather than the tight end group. And is he finally breaking out? I don't really know. I remember when they first drafted him, I wasn't a fan of it because I was like, they should have drafted. Holy cow! They should have drafted Justin Fields. I thought that was a better use of that pick, especially considering Matt Ryan was way older. I didn't think the Kyle Pitts fit made sense. They drafted him anyways. Now they're kind of stuck here in this no man's land with him. They're trying to trade him. Now they're not. I don't really know. But he's been a standout so far, and a noticeable standout. Not like Kyle Pitts made a nice catch because he's 6'4", 6'5", or whatever over like a 5'10" safety. It's like, okay, yeah, whatever. But he's making plays consistently. He's using his hands, he's using his body, and that's big. Okay, that's very noticeable. Penix and Pitts have developed quite a bit of chemistry so far in Falcons training camp. So maybe he's turning a corner. Regardless of how big of a corner he's turning, I'm staying away from him in fantasy. Though I'm not touching him with a 10-foot pole in fantasy. But I'm hoping he can finally develop, because he has been this kind of guy. I've almost viewed him as like a bigger, like a Evan Ingram with like a Rob Gronkowski body, if that makes sense. Like he's very big, and he can move really well. But he's just never really been able to block well. This is not his strength, and he hasn't been as good as we hoped in the receiving game. Very inconsistent. Cannot find the red zone, or the end zone rather. I don't know, but I'm hoping he can kind of turn this around. The second standout out of Carolina. Now this is a big time change here. Hunter Renfrow. He was signed by the Panthers this offseason. He battled an illness last season. He battled a form of colitis last season. Now he's back with the Panthers, and he's developing a ton of chemistry with Bryce Young. He's making a ton of great catches and very tight windows as well. That's a big thing for Bryce Young, because how many times can you throw at Adam Thielen? And look, I really like Adam Thielen, but he's old and he's not as fast as he used to be. His cuts are a little bit more predictable, even though statistically had a really good year last year. I feel like you need someone else to kind of carry the load a little bit alongside Adam Thielen. You also have Xavier Legette there, who's more of the deep guy. Hunter Renfrow, great possession catch guy, and I don't know why the Raiders ever got rid of him in the first place. I know he was great with them. Now he's kind of found a home here in Carolina. I'd expect him to make the team. Dave Canales said, "It looks like I'm watching the old Hunter Renfrow." And wise words of John Gruden. Hunter Renfrow has looked spectacular, man. He's looked really, really good so far with the Panthers. Again, the chemistry with Bryce Young is a big thing, because Bryce Young took a big step, and not just a big step like, he's throwing for 300 yards every game. He took a big step in terms of quarterback maturity, which is such an overlooked part of being a quarterback. You can throw it 70 yards in the air like you're Anthony Richardson. You can throw on the run. You can run the ball well, whatever. If you're not mature, that doesn't mean anything. Bryce Young matured significantly near the end of the season. I'm very excited to see what's next for the Panthers this year. I'm very high in the Panthers. I feel like at this point, I feel like they just have really good vibes. They have a really good team. Canales is a great head coach. I'm really excited to see what the Panthers have to offer in 2025. Next up, we're going to have the 3 rookies. We're going to start in New England with the Patriots and Kyle Williams, 3rd-round receiver. Out of Washington State, Kyle Williams has been an unbelievably strong deep threat receiver so far in Patriots camp so far. I said so far twice, whatever. Kyle Williams has been great so far in camp. He has beat guys like Christian Gonzalez, which is a big time thing to think about. If he's coming out in camp beating Gonzo consistently, that's a massive, massive step for a consistent, strong receiver. I'm a big Kyle Williams guy. Coming out of the draft, I always kind of liked him. I never really knew where he was going to land. He lands in New England. And funny part is, he has talked about what it's like playing next to Stephon Diggs. And you might say, okay, yeah, you're wide out one. No, Stephon Diggs is Kyle Williams' favorite receiver ever, or childhood hero, something along those lines. Now he's playing alongside him, and now Diggs can give him the on-field guidance he needs. Off-field, that's a separate story. The on-field guidance that Williams is going to need, because Diggs is such a crisp route runner. His route running ability is insane. He's just a really, really strong route runner. He's got really good hands. Kyle Williams can really learn from that, because right now as a rookie receiver, there's very few that come into the league and have really crisp and silky routes. Justin Jefferson comes to mind. Malik Neighbors comes to mind. Those guys, Puka Nacua even, when those guys came into the league, they ran crisp, silky routes. Kyle Williams is a little bit more rigid. I'm hoping Diggs can kind of give him that kind of guidance. But Williams, in terms of big plays and overall reliability, big standout there. We're going to go back now to the Chargers. Trey Harris, we mentioned earlier in the show. Trey Harris has been a massive standout player in Chargers camp so far. He's been electric, and now that Mike Williams retired, now we have a guy that can step up and kind of be that second-hand guy next to Ladd McConkey. And Trey Harris is a dog. I said that on my Instagram post in the caption. He's a dog, future dog of the week potentially. Just a really, really good player, right? I really like Trey Harris. I really do. It's really hard for me to say like bad things about him. Just a really, really strong receiver. Herbert has a great weapon in Trey Harris. Keep in mind, their receiving core right now looks something along the lines of Ladd McConkey, Trey Harris, and Quentin Johnston. Now, Quentin Johnston, again, he still has the drop issues, but if you can kind of figure that out, that's a pretty solid receiving core for a team that hasn't had a good receiving core since prime Keenan Allen and prime Mike Williams were playing together before they got derailed with injuries. Lastly, my last standout, and I can say this because I saw it in person, Cam Scatterbo is freaking unreal, man. He's crazy good. Cam Scatterbo, when I went to Giants training camp in person, he had 2 big runs on the day. And I noticeably saw him, even when the whistle was blown, he was still fighting for more yards. I love to see that kind of stuff, man. I really do. He has been and not even just on the ground. I know through the air, I didn't think that he was as good as he was or as he has been. When the Giants first drafted Scatterbo, I expected it to be, Tracy gets the third down reps, he gets the through the air, and Scatterbo gets the goal line stuff. No, Scatterbo's gotten a ton of through the air reps so far. He's gotten a ton of chemistry with Jackson Dart. I'm really excited to see what Scatterbo has to offer in the meantime. He has looked great, and he has really earned a ton of reps. There's no reason for him to not have that kind of stuff. Scatterbo has been great so far, as well as Kyle Williams and Trey Harris in terms of the rookies. That's where we're going to end our show. Thank you all for watching. I know it's a little bit longer than I expected it to be, but you know what? We get the news out. Football is back this week. I'm super excited. We have the Hall of Fame game, and the preseason action starts relatively soon. College football is also starting to come in the near future, so I'm very excited for that. Thank you all for watching. This is Talkin Football, and that's what I got to say about that.